Apparently this is in 4K. Could be a terrible decision.
Well, maybe it's just because you're ugly.
I'm probably gonna edit this and think, oh my god, what have I done? Enjoy. Hello, I'm back. That's cringe. I had a few messages that I was quite surprised at, really, that a lot of people have been asking me when I'm gonna do another video. Apparently people enjoyed the last one, so here I am again. Blame them. Blame all my 4 viewers. Okay, so today I thought I'd have a go at making the mini egg cheesecake that I have seen absolutely everywhere. Every time I'm on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere, I keep seeing this cheesecake come down my feed. So I thought I'd give it a go. I've made a cheesecake before. It was a complete disaster. It was vile. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten in my life. So let's give it another go. Maybe it'll be better this time. I also thought, while making my cheesecake, I would talk about the Kennedy curse. Cheesecake and assassinations. What more could you want? Before we get into the whole Kennedy curse, if you do want to know what's going into the cheesecake, here are the ingredients on the screen now. God. Okay, I'm not some sort of Instagram model, I'm a human being, so I think I have a rat's tail. But it's just gonna happen. We're here for cooking, we ain't here for looking, do you know what I mean? Gonna grate my chocolate and chop up my mini eggs while I give you the tea on the Kennedy family. Some have called them American royalty, a dynasty of power, wealth and influence. They were rich and famous and influential. They were basically like the OG it family of America, but behind the glitz and glam, the Kennedys have a legacy full of heartbreak, conspiracy and tragedy. So today we're going to talk about the Kennedy curse. What is it? Is it a coincidence? Is there something more spooky and sinister at play? Let's have a look. Let's get into it. I also have a feeling that my camera is going to die halfway through this. So this may be a very interesting video in terms of quality. I also have no idea if you can hear me. This is the first time I've used this camera, so I don't know what the audio is going to be like. So, I mean, you don't exactly expect quality from me, let's be real, let's go. So the Kennedys are one of the most iconic families in American history, from Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., the ambitious patriarch, to John F. Kennedy, who everyone obviously knows. He was the charismatic 35th President of the United States, and their legacy is unmatched, but their story is also marked by a series of untimely deaths and devastating events, which is kind of what the curse is about, really. Right, I need a knife. I need a knife. Are mini eggs easy to chop? I've never tried. Maybe I should crush them. Maybe I should. This is going to be interesting. Anyway, for those who don't know, the Kennedy family became super powerful back in the 20th century thanks to Joseph Kennedy Sr., the family patriarch. He's considered the patriarch of the family due to his massive financial success, influential connections in politics, and the opportunities which he created for his children. We're talking money, politics, power, the whole package. And then things got messy. That's not gonna be good. Okay. I might crush this. It says to chop, but they're not very easy to, unless, am I just incompetent? I don't really. Nah, we're not doing that. Okay, I'm gonna lose a finger. I need to crush.
Is that really what my hair looks like from the back?
What can I crush with? A bowl. Is that gonna be easier, or is that gonna break my bowl? They're really hard. How are you meant to chop? Whatever. The term the Kennedy curse was coined to describe a string of misfortunes that's plagued the family for decades. Some believe it began with Joseph Kennedy Sr.'s ruthless ambition. Others point to the family's high-profile lifestyle as a magnet of tragedy. The curse supposedly started with Joseph Kennedy Jr., who tragically died in a plane explosion during World War II. And after that, things didn't really get any easier for the Kennedys. This is fucking hard. People make this look so easy, but they never show you chopping up the mini eggs. Fuck me. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. How the, oh my god. Alright, you're gonna have to give me a minute, because oh, what was that? This, look, I'm making a thing out of this, and I don't know how you're meant to roll in pin.
Oh, yes. Sometimes my genius is...
Roll in pin.
It's almost frightening.
Chop the mini eggs my ass. Am I meant to use all of them? Do I leave some for topping? I'm gonna put these in and then I'll leave some to put on top. I don't really know what I'm doing.
Hours later.
Fuck. Oh no. Alright, well, oh god, Jesus. This is all going wrong. That's enough. That'll do. They can't be good for you to put in your insides. They're really hard. Right, okay, well, that's the mini eggs. Let me hit you with some highlights or lowlights. Like what's gone down over the years with the Kennedys, and alright, buckle up, because it's going to get a little bit shit for the Kennedys anyway. Alright, here's the list, and it's a list because a lot of people have perished. It began with Joseph P. Kennedy Jr., who died in 1944 in a plane explosion during World War II while piloting a military aircraft. Also in 1944, William Cavendish Marquis of Harrington, I think that's how you say his name, Kathleen Kick Kennedy's husband, he was killed by a German sniper also in World War II. Then, 4 years later, in 1948, Kathleen died in a plane crash in France at the age of 28. In 1956, Arabella Kennedy was a stillborn daughter of John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy. In 1963, Patrick Bouvier Kennedy, infant son of John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy, died 2 days after birth due to respiratory distress syndrome. You'll probably know this one, but John F. Kennedy in 1963 was assassinated in Dallas, Texas, while serving as the 35th President of the United States. Huge historical event. It happened on live TV. There are just so many conspiracy theories surrounding his death that could just be an entire video all by itself. Then we have JFK's brother, Robert F. Kennedy, who was also assassinated in 1968 in LA during a presidential campaign. In 1969, US Senator Edward Moore Kennedy, or Ted Kennedy as he was also known, drove his car off of a narrow bridge in Chappaquiddick. I think that's how you say it, Chappaquiddick Island. He drove his car off a bridge and landed upside down in a tidal pond. He survived, but his passenger, Mary Jo, there are just so many names here that I can't say. Mary Jo I'm just going to put it on the screen and you can just sort of figure out yourself. She died, his passenger died, and I just want to add that when I was looking this up, apparently he didn't report the accident to authorities until 10 hours later. What the fuck, Ted? And I just want to know how that incident went down, like how that phone call went, because like, how would you even explain not reporting it until 10 hours later? Like, I understand you're part of like the OG IT family, but that's a bit dodge. Do you know what I mean? Like, what was it like? Like, how was the phone call? How did that go down? Was it just like, ring ring, ring ring? Hello, yes, this is the police. Hi, I'm just calling to report a car accident. Ted Kennedy, I just had a car accident. Oh my god, like, no worries, we're gonna send everyone we have. We've got fire brigade, ambulances, us, the police. Where are you? Where's the accident? Well, I'm actually at home. Oh, okay. So you fled the scene? Well, not fled. No, not fled. I just went home. Oh god, you've crashed your car at home. Okay, well we'll come straight away. Yeah, not at home. I sort of drove it off a bridge and then left to home. So, right, okay. So you fled. Well, not fled. Okay, right, not fled. Okay, well, main thing is you phoned us straight away. You know, at least thank God you phoned us straight away. I sort of 5. How long ago has it been since you didn't flee the crime, the accident? 5 hours. 5 hours, Ted. It's been 5 hours, and then another 5 on top of that. So, yeah, 10 hours, Ted. It's been 10 hours. Okay? Well, at least nobody was injured. Yeah. About that. So I had a passenger and she was injured a bit. Okay, how injured are we talking, Ted? Is it quite a bit injured? Is it a lot injured? Sort of quite a lot, quite a lot dead. She's quite a lot dead. What the fuck, Ted?
So I looked it up and there's quite a bit on this, and apparently the basics of it is that Ted was too disorientated and in shock to call the police straight away. Also, one story that says that Mary was asleep on the back seat, and Ted didn't actually realize this because he had another passenger in the front seat. I don't know, make of it what you will. There's also a story, I think was Ted's original claim, that said he was given Mary a lift. So that story would contradict the story that she was asleep on the back seat. There are stories that also say that Ted was drunk. Either way, regardless, waiting 10 hours to inform anybody is mental. I read that there was a chance that Mary might have lived if the authorities were informed straight away. So it just baffles me. I'm completely baffled. I wish I knew exactly what actually went down and why this happened. It's just absolutely bizarre to me.
After Ted Kennedy, in 1984, David A. Kennedy, son of Robert F. Kennedy, died of overdose in Palm Beach, Florida. In 1997, Michael they have a bunch of names that I can't say. Michael Lemoyne. Lemoyne, is the N silent? Lemoyne. I know what you're thinking, I should have researched this before making the video, but again, we're not here for quality, so sue me. Michael Lemoyne Kennedy, also son of Robert F. Kennedy, died in a skiing accident in Aspen, Colorado. In 1999, John F. Kennedy Jr. died in you guessed it, another plane crash, along with his wife Carolyn Bessette Kennedy and her sister Lauren Bessette. Just stop getting on planes, people. In 2012, Mary Richardson Kennedy, estranged wife of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., died by. And then you have Maeve Kennedy McKean, granddaughter of Robert F. Kennedy, drowned in a canoeing accident along with her son Gideon in 2020. I know that's like so many unfortunate deaths. It's really easy to see why everyone's all like, you're cursed. My advice to them would be to just stop going outside. Like, never leave the house, like, ever. It obviously just doesn't work for you. Doesn't work in your favour. Just stay inside. I tried grating the chocolate, and I'm not gonna lie, not to be dramatic, it was ruining my life because it was taking too long and it got absolutely everywhere. So I'm just gonna try and chop it. Probably gonna make things harder for myself, but we're just gonna go for it, okay? Okay, now I think that'll be easier, actually. It might take longer, but we're just gonna go for it. There's also one Kennedy convention that people often include within the curse narrative, but I personally wouldn't include her as being cursed. Rosemary Kennedy, the eldest daughter of Joseph K. Sr., you know, the patriarch. Joseph actually had her lobotomized in 1941 when she was just 23 in an attempt to address her behavioural issues. She apparently had intellectual disabilities and experienced mood swings and unpredictable behaviour, but the procedure left her severely disabled. The reason that I wouldn't include her in the whole sort of like curse list is because it was an active decision. Joseph actively made the decision to give Rosemary the lobotomy. It's something obviously really awful to happen. It didn't really need to happen. Although back in those days they didn't really know any better. We didn't know then as much as we do now about like mental health and disabilities and things. And thankfully now we have a better understanding of how to support people with disabilities. I don't feel that Rosemary fits into the curse because ultimately it's something that could have been prevented and it was someone's decision. It wasn't like a freak accident, if you know what I mean, like the plane crashes. But I will also mention that a lot of people seem to believe that Joseph's decision actually led to the family being cursed, like it was Rosemary's revenge or something like that. I have spent way too long talking and not doing this, so you're gonna have to give me a minute. I also haven't measured this out. I was supposed to use 100 grams and I don't really know, so we're gonna wing it. It's gonna be fine. I think that might be 100. I'm not really sure. That'll be fine. I've made a mess. If you could just like go in the bowl without making a mess, that would be fab. Is that 100 grams? Oh, is that 100 grams? I don't know. I ain't got a clue. We don't know. That would be fine. Oh, it's really gonna taste like crap, innit? It'll be fine. Do I need to chop more? Is that 100? Is that like 100? That's 100. The chocolate bar was like 500 and there's like that much left, so we're gonna go with it. It's gonna be fine. Those are the cursed deaths that everyone seems to talk about. Anyway, on a less morbid note, I've got to melt some butter and put some biscuit. So I'm gonna do that. Oh shit, I need a saucepan. Okay. Always come prepared. I should probably do the biscuits first because then they'll already be crumbly. Alright, okay. When it says blitz, it does mean like blender, right? Blitz? Blender. I guess we'll find out. They ain't ever gonna fit in the blender. This is gonna make the lid come off. That ain't ever gonna fit. Oh, I've overflowed. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I should have melted the... I'm gonna melt the butter and then...
Come on, SpongeBob, you're losing him. Think, your public's waiting.
I don't know what I'm doing. Melt the butter. It'd be nice if I turned the oven on. Do I even need to do it over a saucepan or can I just do it in the microwave? Should I put it in the microwave? Like what's gonna happen if I put it in the microwave? It's not like it's gonna cook, and if it cooks it's gonna melt, right? Do I do it? Should I do it? I'm just gonna do it.
Ooh, you're hard.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Will it be fine? It's melting just fine. Like you don't need a saucepan. That is so dramatic. You don't need a saucepan. Microwave. What was this recipe written in? Frickin' 1800s. Oh yeah, baby. Cheat the system. I need to put... Oh my god, what's that noise? I mean, it looks a bit odd, but maybe I should have stuck it in the sauce. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, biscuits. It says Blitz in a food processor. This is a blender. But it's chopping it up either way, so... Is it going to be the prettiest cheesecake we've ever made? No. Is it going to be the tastiest cheesecake we've ever made? Most likely, almost no. I'm really nervous to blend my biscuits. I don't want to break my blender. Oh, this is going to sound horrific. And also, if my blender breaks, I don't really know how to... Oh. I'm gonna blend everything. That was so easy. That was so easy. wasn't like enough butter for the biscuit crumbs, I'm not gonna lie to you. There ain't never enough butter for these biscuit crumbs. And when I mix it, am I mixing it with a spoon or a fork? I feel like a spoon. I blended my biscuits and I put the butter in and I've melted them down and now they look like that. Okay, let's talk theories. Why does everybody think there's a curse? The number one theory is bad luck. Some people think it's just a string of really, really bad luck that had to happen to someone, right? Risky lifestyle. The Kennedys were high achievers. They were into politics, flying planes, extreme sports, basically anything that might land you in a disaster movie. And then we have the actual curse theory. Some people love the idea that there's an actual curse. You know, too much power, jealousy, maybe someone put a curse on them through jealousy. Maybe it's karma from the universe in the form of a curse. Whatever, take your pick. The term Kennedy curse gained traction after Ted Kennedy himself, when reflecting on the tragedies in his family following the incident where he drove his car off a bridge in 1969 and forgot to mention it until 10 hours later. I ain't saying you're covering something up, Ted, but I ain't saying you ain't. I ain't saying you ain't. Teddy K wondered if some awful curse hung over his family. This statement sort of resonated with the public and helped solidify the idea of the curse. Ted's car crash and the death of his passenger Mary is another reason why people seem to believe that the family was cursed. Some people actually believe that Ted and Joseph's actions combined led to innocent lives being taken away, and this is why the rest of the family is being punished in the form of a curse. Almost like karma, I guess. There are two really famous deaths in the Kennedy family that I think helped fuel the curse narrative because the public were involved in such a massive way. It says to beat the cream cheese and the icing sugar together, but I have no... Did you just mix? Is that what beating is? I didn't really know. Am I supposed to throw it against the wall? That ain't looking good, but we're gonna go with them. The first most iconic death that most people know and created so many conspiracy theories is JFK's assassination. This could be a video all of its own, but I feel like I need to talk about it just a little bit. Back in November 22nd, 1963, the world changed forever when President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. He had become a symbol of hope and new beginnings, representing a bright future for many Americans. His presidency, often referred to as Camelot, represented a fresh, youthful energy in American politics, and it's probably because he championed civil rights. He wanted to go to space and do the space exploration, famously pledging to land a man on the moon, and he also wanted to introduce programs aimed at improving education and global peace. But during a motorcade in Dallas, Texas, shown on live TV, things took a devastating turn. JFK was riding in an open-top limo alongside his wife Jackie Kennedy, Texas Governor John Connally and his wife Nellie, and as they passed through the Dealey Plaza, gunshots rang out. As most people know about this, the president was hit twice, once in the neck and then a fatal shot to the head. Governor Connally was also injured, he survived. Kennedy was then rushed to hospital, but doctors couldn't save him. He was pronounced dead at just after 1 p.m. that day. Not long after, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson was actually sworn in as president aboard the flight Air Force One. Jackie, JFK's wife, was stood there in the same outfit stained in her husband's blood. It was a completely tragic and unforgettable moment. The man arrested for the crime was actually Lee Harvey Oswald, a former Marine, but before he could even stand trial, he was killed by a nightclub owner, Jack Ruby, also on live TV. That single act fueled countless conspiracy theories. Some say that Oswald wasn't acting alone, and others suggest that he might not have done it at all. Theories range from involvement by the CIA, the mafia, and even foreign governments. The official report said that Oswald didn't act alone, but not everyone's convinced. Like, to this day, the JFK assassination remains one of the most debated events in modern history. It marked the end of an optimistic era in the USA. It left a lot of unanswered questions, like what really happened that day? What actually went down that day? Was it Oswald? Was it not? Was he acting alone? Was he not? What kind of world might have we lived in if JFK had actually lived and not died that day? The legacy he left behind just makes so many people wonder. Whisk this until it forms stiff peaks, and I should have done it in that bowl, so I could have done it in my mixer. We will make mistakes. Oh, it's gonna take forever. What happens if the stiff peaks never form? I need to Google how to whip cream so stiff peaks form. Apparently I do actually need my, like, that. Oh my god, this is just not going well, really, is it? But we're gonna, it's fine. Right, we'll get you out. And back. It's all got to be mixed together anyway, so like what difference does it make, do you know what I mean? Right, whisk. Let's go. What does stiff peaks look like? I did it! It looks good! I think I'm supposed to put these together, I don't really know. I'm just doing it. Oh, do I want to do that? Is that what I'm supposed to do? I'm just doing it. I think that's what I'm supposed to do. It's done. It's happened. There's no going back. And you're supposed to like mix in the chocolate and the eggs and stuff. A bit at a time, it says. So the second most famous Kennedy death, in my opinion, was JFK's brother, Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy was assassinated on June 5th, 1968 at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, California. He had just delivered a victory speech after winning the California Democratic primary for the 1968 presidential election. As he exited the ballroom after giving his speech and he went through to the kitchen area, he was shot multiple times by a man called Saran Saran, a 24-year-old Palestinian immigrant is how they described him. Saran Saran was reported to fire a .22 caliber revolver, hitting Kennedy 3 times, once in the head and twice in the upper body. 5 other people in the crowd were also injured, and Kennedy was rushed to hospital where he died of his injuries the following day on June 6, 1968. It says to add in a bit at a time, but I'm just going to drop them all in. What's the point? This is where I find out that I should have actually grated the chocolate, but there we go. Saran was apprehended at the scene and later convicted of first-degree murder, but this is where it gets a little bit odd. The weird thing was that he claimed to have no memory of the shooting, which has fueled the conspiracy theories over the years, including
The suspense is terrible.
He's gonna go this time.
I hope it'll last.
Including suggestions that there may have been a second gunman, or that Saran was actually hypnotised. I told you, it gets a little bit weird. Because he stuck to the story of having absolutely no memory of the incident, people actually began to believe that he was hypnotised, or that he may have been programmed to commit the shooting. His events team and some researchers have suggested that he may have been under hypnosis at the time of shooting because he was so calm when he carried out the shooting, and his claim of having no memory of the event. That was the other thing. He was just extraordinarily calm when he shot Robert. Apparently there was no sort of look of menace in his eyes. There was no craziness about him. He was just calm. And that paired with the fact he had no memory kind of points to being hypnotised or being programmed, brainwashed, whatever you want to call it. This idea gained traction when experts in hypnosis and forensic psychiatry examined Saran and argued that he could have been manipulated into acting as what they call I think it's called a Manchurian candidate, which is a term for someone being brainwashed to carry out a mission. However, this does remain controversial and an unproven theory, with many experts and investigators dismissing it as being speculation. Robert's assassination actually led to significant changes in US law, including increased Secret Service protection for presidential candidates, and it also marked one of the most tragic moments in American history, coming just 5 years after the assassination of his brother JFK. I really think that because these two events happened so publicly, that it had to have fueled the curse theory due to people experiencing these events in a first-hand type of way. Next, I've got to scoop this into my base. Cheesecake. Did I mix that enough? I don't really know. Nah, I would mix that like the entire time I was talking, that's fine. I don't even know if I bought the right cheese. When I was in the shop and I was looking at like what is cream cheese, because I don't know if it's like a UK thing, but apparently we don't sell cream cheese, we just sell soft cheese. And when I was Googling it, it said something like, all cream cheese is soft cheese, but not all soft cheese is cream cheese. But then you go in the shop and everything's labelled as soft cheese, so could have been worse. I could have bought Parmesan. There we go, there's a cheesecake. That is actually quite heavy. Cheesecake. Okay, so the cheesecake has to go in the fridge for like 6 hours. Oh, I know, who's got the time? While it's chilling in the fridge, I need someone to fill the gap. And who else other than, well, me?
Well, again,
Yeah.
what if I was busy?
Yeah, but you're not, and this whole charade is very obviously pre-planned, so...
Don't call me out like that, that's so rude.
Thank you! So the Kennedy curse, as we know, is this idea that the family's been hit with a wild amount of tragedy over the years. But is it a curse? Well, it can feel that way when you look at how many things have gone wrong. I know, party pooper. But we gotta wait for the cheesecake to set, so just listen for once in your life, would you? Part of it comes from how our brains work. We're wired to spot patterns. It helps us in a survival sense. We can spot dangers through patterns. We learn new skills and information through patterns. It's just how our brains are wired to work. Because we're always looking for patterns, it's easy to connect the dots and call it a curse, even when there might not be a pattern at all. Plus, the Kennedys lived big, risky lives, as we've discussed. Flying planes, skiing, being in politics, all that stuff naturally comes with more risk for things to go south. And then there's the public and media side of things. Every tragedy in that family gets huge attention, which just keeps the idea of the curse alive. It's like once people start calling it a curse, you can't really unsee it. We have to remember that for famous families like the Kennedys, every misstep, misfortune or drama gets magnified because it happens under the intense spotlight of the media and the public interest. The idea of a curse sticks because these events are constantly talked about, written about, repeated in headlines, documentaries, social discussions. It creates this larger-than-life perception of misfortune that can feel almost mythical, kind of like a curse. As Kitchen Me said, the televised assassination of JFK probably played a huge role in cementing the idea of the Kennedy curse. It wasn't just a tragedy, it was a tragedy witnessed by millions of people in real time. The up-close film and live coverage of the aftermath made the event feel deeply personal and unforgettable for the public. You can't really argue that whether you're a fan of JFK or you're not, or even the Kennedys themselves, the event is seared into everyone's minds after seeing the footage. I mean, those who actually witnessed it in real time, whether they were actually there or watching it via the live broadcast on the telly, they were involved to some degree. How could they not feel the event intensely? I mean, let's be real here, how often do you see a man shot twice in the face in real time, and then it's been shown repeatedly on documentaries and videos time and time again for years after for everyone to relive it, including this video. Sorry about that. This kind of visibility amplified the emotional impact and created a collective memory of the event. For many, it wasn't just the loss of a president, it was the loss of hope and optimism that JFK symbolised. You know, improving education, going to the moon, and all that sort of stuff. Imagine seeing something as shocking as JFK, who many deemed a fresh symbol of hope for the future, being shot in the head right in front of your eyes. And then his poor wife desperately trying to crawl out the back of the car. It's a lot to process, and for some people the Kennedy curse probably became a way to make sense of it all. Instead of grappling with the unpredictability of life, leaning into the curse idea gave the horrible event some sort of structure, like, oh, this family's just doomed. It's sometimes easier for people to cope when there's an answer or a story to explain the unexplainable, even if they are a little bit superstitious about it all. For regular families, tragedies like this don't usually play out on such a massive screen, so they don't get woven into a larger narrative. But for the Kennedys, the media spotlight turned their personal losses into public spectacles, making the idea of the curse almost inevitable. What I'm trying to say is the reality is tragedies happen in ordinary families too, they just don't get the same attention. For example, a non-famous family might also experience untimely deaths and illnesses and freak accidents, but these events tend to remain mostly private. Without the vast public media coverage to connect the dots and highlight patterns, the events are usually seen as isolated incidents rather than part of a bigger dramatic narrative. In contrast, when a family is famous, every event is completely scrutinised and woven into a storyline. It gives the illusion of inevitability. Another important point to remember is scale. The Kennedys were a large family, and large families like the Kennedys naturally have more members and therefore a higher statistical chance of experiencing multiple tragedies over time. More members, more chances to experience unfortunate events. For regular families this happens too, but like I said, it's not played out on a global stage. The curse is probably just a mix of people's denial, excitement, or perceptions fueled by fame and storytelling. If similar things happen to ordinary families, they're more likely to be seen as unlucky randomness of life rather than a sign of something bigger. It's sort of all about how stories and mysteries are relayed and told and who's telling them, really. And let's be real, human beings love a good mystery, me included. The whole even the rich and powerful aren't safe from eerie unexplainable things, people eat that up, they love it. That's why we have conspiracy theorists. We love a good mystery and we're curious creatures. Is it real? Is it not? Probably not, but I guess we don't really know. Maybe curses are real, and if all the conspiracies about the government being involved in rituals and sacrifices and other Illuminati hoo-ha, then maybe, just maybe, in this instance, a curse has plagued the family. Back to me in the kitchen. What? 6 hours in the fridge, but I actually left it in there overnight. Who did that? I didn't do that. Who did that? Not me. Could never be me. We gonna do that? We gonna do that? I don't care. At least I know it's set. It actually looks like a cheesecake. What's wrong with these up? It looks like a cheesecake. It looks like a bodged cheesecake. It looks like a cheesecake. Look at that.
It looks edible.
The last cheesecake I made was absolutely vile, so let's see if this tastes nice. I can see why it's a viral cheesecake. That tastes absolutely phenomenal. I would 100% recommend making that. Great in the chocolate, completely ruined my life in every single way. Might be to do with the curse, I'm not quite sure. But I was absolutely amazing and I would completely recommend making this.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before, unafraid to reference or not reference, put it in a blender, shit on it, vomit on it, eat it, give birth to it.
So is the Kennedy curse real, or is it a series of unfortunate events? Some attribute it to the family's relentless pursuit of power, which puts them in dangerous situations. Others suggest it's a case of bad luck amplified by their fame. And then there's those who believe in the supernatural explanations, a curse placed on the family for its past misdeeds. Despite all of the tragedies, the Kennedys have left an undeniable mark on history. The so-called curse may have cast a shadow, but it hasn't extinguished their legacy. Here's the thing, whether or not you believe in the curse, you can't deny that the Kennedys left a mark. Whether it's considered good, bad, tragic, from the civil rights movement to the space race, their impact is still alive and kicking. Oh, actually, that might be a bad choice of words given what we've just discussed. My bad. So what do you think? Is the Kennedy curse a myth? Is it a series of coincidences or something more? Something spooky? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and share and subscribe, even though it's a bit cringe, but if you want more deep dives, if you like it, if you want to make the cheesecake, if you want to try it, I recommend it. So yeah, that's it, I'm done. This is going to take forever. It's a nightmare. Jesus. How are you supposed to grate it without it just exploding everywhere? I'm too lazy for this.